was honored with the International Indian Achievers Award for Educational Excellence in 2014. And Association for Pharmaceutical Engineers, EPP Principles of the year 2015, and Delgado for Pharmaceutical and Chemistry by Pharm Plus, and Dr. Chandramani is a vice member of various bodies like APTI, API, ICT, API, IHPS, HPR, etc. And Chandramani the convention for more than 50 conferences, and Dr. Chandramani reviewer of many more than 50 research and review articles in national and international data index. This report from Dr. as a chairperson. And now I would like to Dr. to introduce Bhakti Bhushan staff to the section. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So it is my great privilege to introduce today's conference chairperson, Dr. Bhakti Bhushan Bore. He is presently working as professor and HOD, Department of Pharmaceutical Technology, Brainware University, Kolkata. Earlier, he worked in different institutions like College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Odisha, as Assistant Director, Academic Director, and Head of PG Department. College of Pharmacy, Sarjan University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as Professor and Coordinator. He was educated B.Pharm, M.Pharm, and PhD from Jadavpur University, Kolkata. He is awarded with Bharat Shiksha Award, Ratan Award in 2007, International Gold Star Award in 2013, Indodoi South Bhavana Award in 2014, APP Eminent Teachers Award in 2015, Mother Teresa Priyadarshini Award in 2016. He received few research project grants from UGC and ACT. He has long experience with 35 years of teaching experience, 32 years of research experience. He graded 12 PhD and 100 M.Pharm students. He is credited with 66 research publications and more than 100 presentations at national and international conferences. Visited several countries like USA, Germany, Spain, China, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. So this is a brief introduction to today's conference person. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, Professor Barik.
Yeah,
how are you?
Good morning. Yeah, fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. So once again, we are meeting here.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
It is nice to see you.
Right.
Actually, Dr. Sachin is bumped out due to some reason. He is trying to log in again. So I will ask the organizer to let him in. He is waiting to be in. He's showing the message, the meeting host will let you in. Dr. Purushottam?
বলো ক্লিয়ারলি কি বলছিলে জানো আমি এটা অফ করেছি সাউন্ড অফ করেছি এইটা তো
Yes, sir.
দেখো এইটা ব্রহ্মজিতের হ্যাঁ করি। এটা
Sir, sir, tell me, sir.
হ্যাঁ না না বস হ্যাঁ আমি একটা ওই কনফারেন্সে আছি বলুন হ্যাঁ
Dr. Barik, you are
হ্যাঁ
audible to all.
হ্যাঁ 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 আচ্ছা 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 ইন্টার আচ্ছা 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 না মানে অন্যরা যাতে না এফেক্ট করে না না, ঠিক ঠিক না ঠিক ঠিক হ্যাঁ ঠিক ঠিক আছে বলে দিতে সবাই হুম ঠিক আছে হ্যাঁ ঠিক টিউটোরিয়াল ক্লাসে দেবে আর কোশ্চেন অ্যান্সার সেশন স্পিচ এজালি পসিবল লেখা দরকার আছে ঠিক আছে আচ্ছা বল 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 তাড়াতাড়ি বল আমি একটা কনফারেন্সে আছি কনফারেন্সে চেয়ারিং করছি ইন্টারন্যাশনাল কনফারেন্স বল বল তাড়াতাড়ি বল হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ থার্ড ইয়ার থেকে না ওটা ফোর্থ ইয়ারে হবে না 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 থার্ড ইয়ার থেকে পারবে না ওটা ফোর্থ ইয়ারে ওটা অলরেডি কোর্সটা অ্যাপ্রুভ হয়েছে তো আমি আসার পরে বোর্ড অফ স্টাডি হয়ে একাডেমিক কাউন্সিল হয়ে গেছে এদের খালি কয়েকটা ক্লাস ফাইনাল ইয়ারে করাচ্ছিলাম কিন্তু কোর্সটা তোমাদের মানে এই যে ফাইনাল ইয়ার হবে কামিং সেশন থেকে তারা পাবে 7th সেমিস্টার থেকে পাবে হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ একাডেমিক কাউন্সিল অলরেডি অ্যাপ্রুভ হয়ে আমরা রেডি আছি 7th সেমিস্টার থেকে হ্যাঁ
Dr. Barik, please unmute.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dr. Sachin, you can start, please.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen as well. You see my screen too?
Yes, sir, it is visible, but make it a slideshow. Yes, sir, now it is okay.
Perfect. Perfect. So all set. Okay, well, first of all, thanks a lot for giving this opportunity to interact with the young pharma students. It's my pleasure to have been associated with APP for now, I think, over 10 years, and it has been a very fulfilling journey until now, and I'm really happy the way organization is evolving over several years. Today, we are going to have a look on the role the biopharmaceuticals are playing in the management of different diseases. I mean, the disease part remain a little bit open, little bit general, but how biopharmaceuticals have changed the landscape of disease management. What we are going to look at is, where do we stand today? Just give me a moment. So we'll look at where are we today. We'll go in a little bit of detail. So biopharmaceuticals are large molecules. The terms are used, macromolecule, large molecules, biopharmaceuticals. The word means the same. They are used differently in different contexts. Then we'll go into a little bit what MABs are different about, what do they offer a little bit differently. Going a little further detail on biologics manufacturing and formulation, and how we can contribute, being a pharma society, how we can make a difference there. So if I were to take a quick snapshot of past 4-5 centuries, or even a little bit beyond that, many centuries back, what we were relying on is really natural or herbal-based treatments, right? So most of the drugs were gross. They were really coming from natural origin, right? Around a century or 2 centuries back, we started getting into purified chemicals. Those are small chemicals which started becoming drugs. Often they were coming from the natural source, sometimes also chemical synthesis. Over the period of time, the chemical synthesis has taken up more prominent role there. Then 70 years back, roughly 70, 80 years back, antibiotics, I would say more advanced antibiotics, ampicillin, and a little bit beyond, around a century back, penicillins were discovered. They have made significant impact on our life. That was followed by insulin. This is around half a century back, maybe 40 years, 40, 50 years back, when insulin first became as a drug, or I would say recombinant insulin first became as a drug. Insulin as a drug originally was coming from porcine, but recombinant insulin has changed the landscape there for the first time. Now, when we look at, we are more looking into mRNAs and DNA or gene therapies based medicines and cell therapy. So these two, I would say, research-wise, have been there for 2-3 decades. They became as a therapy within 1 decade, more or less. So that's how I see the evolution over the last 4-5 centuries, right? And today we are going to focus on this bottom part, and more specifically within the bottom part, most of it is dominated by peptides and proteins. And this is also a good link from starting small molecules and moving towards DNAs and cell therapy. This is quite an important juncture of this transition. I will convince you why. So this is the most recent approval chart for FDA from FDA. The y-axis represent the number of drugs approved, and the x-axis is different years, right? The blue one are biopharmaceuticals. The orange NMEs are new small molecule entities, and BLA is biological licensing application. If you see the blue bar from 20, 30 years back, the blue bar used to be very, very small contributor, one, maybe two drugs coming in the initial years. And if you see on the right hand side, the blue bar starts getting bigger and bigger. So if I had to average out currently, they contribute roughly around maybe 30, maybe 40% of medicaments which are of biological origin. Apart from the number, what also makes sense.
Excuse Dr. Sachin, your voice little bit loud. You can-
Is it better now?
నాకు
మార్నింగ్ అంత టైం పట్టదులే మీకు ఆవిడ మరి 6 years తీసుకున్నారు పాపం
ఫస్ట్ టైం మేడం 6 years పడుతుంది
Miss Hima Bindu, please.
వాడి మేడం కి కాంటాక్ట్స్ ఎక్కువ వాళ్ళు
Miss Hima Bindu,
But తను guidance
please mute
తీసుకొచ్చి
yourself.
సబ్జెక్ట్
ఎవరికి ఏం చెప్పరు మేడం
ఆయన ఇది ఎందుకు మేడం
Miss Hima Bindu,
పక్కన
mute yourself. Here.
హలో
Please mute yourself. You're not audible, Dr. Sachin.
Yes, please carry on.
Dr. Barik,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Dr. Dubey is audible to you?
No, not now. Earlier is okay. Beginning is fine.
Now, how is it now?
So he's trying to speak, but he's not audible.
Dayasi, we can't able to hear.
Dr. Sachin, you can try, retry to once again to join. It may work out.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, great.
I think Sachin sir has some problem.
Okay. Is it fine now? I
Yeah,
should
you are
start
audible.
back again. Okay, great. I will share my screen so that it's give me a moment. All good now? Okay. I assume it's all okay. So what I was saying here is that apart from the number, financial number, also equally important of biopharmaceutical world, for the top 10 selling drugs, 7 out of 10 are dominated by biopharmaceuticals. Of course, and this is the most so 7 out of 10 molecules are of biological origin. These are the number from December 21. So last couple of years, for obvious reasons, the vaccines for COVID, either from Pfizer or Moderna, they are among the top revenue generators. But nonetheless, there are other monoclonal antibodies which have also being consistently successful. Humira, Keytruda, Stelara, they are all antibodies, Dupixent, etc. And antibodies, monoclonal antibodies, they contribute to, as a class of molecule, one of the biggest molecule to present highest selling drugs consistently. So this is from 2021. If we discount for the situation we had with COVID-19 and look at a little bit before that situation, so this is the sales number from 2018. This is pretty much in the same line. So around 70% of top selling drugs were really of biological origin. And once again, most of these are biopharmaceuticals. How the future looks like, once again, from sales numbers, most of the molecule which are likely to become blockbuster are once again. So blockbuster is any drug which is generating more than 1 billion of revenue. And if you see, top 5, 6 drugs are really dominated by monoclonal antibodies once again. So now the question is whether this is new or whether this has been foreseen, or this change has been foreseen. If we look back roughly 15 years back, we will observe that the number of patents, which is a good marker of how the landscape is evolving, you will see that the number of patents for the molecule since 2007, 8, or 9, the ratio, the percent of large molecule to small molecule drug as a patent was starting to get dominated by biopharmaceutical. And eventually around 8 to 10 years, which is also the time it takes to a molecule becoming a drug. The transition represented late in 2020, late in 2015 onward, the sales domination of our pharmaceuticals. Okay. Now, what are these biologics, or what are these biopharmaceuticals, right? There are several definitions. I've taken this Australian agency, which I found quite complete. So biological medicine, biopharmaceuticals, macromolecules, they are all but the same. They include vaccines. So that's COVID related vaccines, be it subunit vaccine, be it mRNA based vaccine or cell attenuated vaccine. All of those are biopharmaceuticals. Then we have recombinant based medicine, be it coming from the cell line producing protein of interest, or now the cell therapies as well. Bacterial derived proteins, polysaccharides, anything which is larger than 2500 Dalton in molecular weight. So all those peptides, this makes insulin as a biological medicine as well. So if I had to summarize, proteins, peptides, DNA, cell, all what is produced from a cell line, cell-based factory, I would say, so bioreactor are all biological medicines. How does that look like? And I've been saying that it's dominated by monoclonal antibody. Here is the compilation, different type of biopharmaceuticals, MAPs, hormone growth factors, and so on. All of these are protein once again. I mean, a large domination by MAPs, followed by hormones and so on. The hormones like insulin, growth factors, insulin, and those are monoclonal antibodies here. Once again, if we see the pipeline, so what is coming in future, there are interesting molecules like antisense RNAs which are coming up. But once again, the large domination is by monoclonal antibodies and recombinant protein. And that's exactly why we want to focus in this presentation on that. Now, what are MABs? Once again, if I had to say, each one of us has immunoglobulins, right? So immunoglobulins are the molecules which protect us against invasion of bacteria. These are immune system molecules which are responsible for protecting us. How do they do that? Our body encounter any foreign antigen, and the body reacts in terms of developing monoclonal antibodies. The same is the mechanism for any other, I would say not any other, but many other animals as well, like murine. When an antigen is injected, they generate antibodies as well, right? Now, these antibodies were the first one which were used as medicaments. This goes roughly 30 years back. They are effective, no problem, but they are foreign, right? They are originated from murine, and they themselves can be immunogenic to human, right? And in last 20, 30 years, the foreignness of that antibody have been consistently decreased. So that the first series of molecules were really coming completely from murine. Then the scientists started developing the mixed molecules. So these are the binding region, and they replaced only the binding region from murine, while the other part was coming from human, or humanization, which means only a small amino acid sequence were replaced. And now even fully human antibodies are coming up as well. Of course, when the antibody are human, they are much less immunogenic. And this is the evolution for monoclonal antibody. Now, how are MAPs different? And I'm going to compare a little bit about with small molecules here. The very first difference is really in size and complexity, right? Small molecule is really few atoms and very well characterized. As we move towards
Dubeji, once again, the voice is
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
less.
Yes, sound is decreasing.
Okay. How is it now? Can you hear me? Okay, am I audible now once again?
Yes, sir. Now it is audible.
Yeah, now audible.
Very strange, but okay. Anyway, let's continue quickly. Um, so there are several differences I was talking about. So they are much smaller in nature compared to biologics, which are complex, and all what is required to be managed gets multiplied by several times, right? Origin in a small molecule and large molecule is either chemical in nature or coming from cells. We already discussed on those. How are they administered? Most of small molecule are orally administered, or at least preferred to be orally administered, while large molecules are often injected or infused in a hospital. So in order to save some time, and I hope the voice doesn't go down, I will skip a couple of slides here. One other important aspect here is to have small molecule is administered several times. So for example, BID or TID, so twice or thrice a day, in order to maintain the right serum concentration for efficacy. The large molecules, especially monoclonal antibody, once they are administered, they stay in blood for a long period of time. This employs the same approach as we have for immunoglobulins in the body. So that keep it in mind that for PKPD profile is very, very different for monoclonal antibody. High level mechanism of action summary. Small molecule can target a cell surface or can penetrate inside the cell surface, inside the cell membrane, and have a target inside the cells with one of the receptor modulating the outcome. Large molecules like monoclonal antibody, they cannot enter the cell membrane. Means that all the target for monoclonal antibodies are outside of the cell membrane only. So all they can only target here, cannot target anything. Uh, they leverage from several of the standard function which an antibody have. These are so-called effector or secondary function. What are these? Structurally, the first part of the light chain, or they are called antigen binding light chain, as well as the heavy chain part, the C variable region of both light chain and heavy chain, they are called antigen binding sites for both the arms. And these are antigen or target binding. While there are many other system complementation which comes from the standard immunoglobulins as well. These are Fc receptor based or FcRn based binding. Why are they important? They are important to bring in some other immunological cells to, for example, destroy an oncology. How would it work? You have your target here. So this target could be on the cancerous cell. So this antibody will bind to the cancerous cell. Then the secondary function, which comes from here, Fc region or complement region, and another cell will bind to it, which are dependent on ADCC or CDC. They bind from the Fc region such that this cell, the second cell, would be then able to kill the cancerous cell. Okay. Now, quickly going through how are maps manufactured. Typically, they are manufactured in 3 steps. The first step is upstream processing, which means that we take a small number of cells. We grow them several times over several days, and we get sufficient amount of protein of interest to be produced there. That's upstream processing. Then going to the downstream processing is you have a broth where there is cell, where there's protein, where there's DNA, and downstream processing is purifying the protein of interest and making it more than 98, 99% pure from not only the extracellular matrix perspective, but also the purity in terms of its monomeric form. So the USP part is composed of several rounds of production. Often it starts with a small scale, and then we multiply it with a bigger and bigger bioreactors. We'll go slightly in detail of that. And then we have several steps of purification. Going through upstream, as I mentioned, it encompasses several steps. We take simply, let's say, a few millions of cells. We put it in the shake flask. This is no different than growing any other cell in your microbiome lab. Pretty much exactly the same. That's followed by expansion, 1, 2, maybe 3, depending on what the production bioreactor is. In the production bioreactor, we grow the cells for several days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get big mass there. And finally, you remove the cells, which is called centrifugal filtration and removal of the cell such that the protein of interest can come. What is so complicated about production is there are several things which are required to be monitored. Right temperature, right level of oxygen, right condition in terms of pH. The cells require different type of food. So all of these has to be monitored and controlled during each of these steps and for whole cycle. And cells have different personalities. So one cells will be behaving differently to other cells, right? And those are important to optimize the process for different cells, right? Going to quickly the DSP, which is called downstream processing. Here we have purification. So we take the broth, which is purified, or cells are removed, and we have only the supernatant, which is composed of proteins, lipids, and DNAs. In the first step, we use the affinity. Monoclonal antibody have an affinity for protein A, so we pass it through all the other things except monoclonal antibodies, so other proteins, lipids, and DNA, they just wash through, and protein of interest remain bind there. Then there are virus inactivation steps, acid treatment, and virus filtration. Viruses are, with the COVID example, that they are suboptimal, so they required to be removed. And another important step here is so-called removal of HCPs and aggregates using a cation exchange or an anion exchange chromatography. We do that in order to have um, the amount of purified monomeric form as high as possible. These are the depiction of, so we put everything, including target protein and other proteins, here to a affinity chromatography. All the other proteins just flow through the antibody.
So change once again the voice as not voice is not there.
Okay, I suppose it's back again. Is it? Am I audible?
Yes, now it is audible.
Yeah, sorry, but it's crazy. Okay, so that's the second step of purification. Then we have fill and finish, which is no different than any other small molecule. We formulate it, we add this stabilizer, we filter it through sterile filter. There's no possibility the proteins are heat sensible and they cannot be autoclaved. Thus, they are sterile filter to 0.22 micron membrane and filled finally into the vials. Now, formulating and stabilizing maps, they are large structure, as I mentioned. Stabilizing small molecules were already complex. And here, all those which can go wrong with a small molecule is multiplied by several thousand-fold. Thus, it becomes extremely difficult. There are two type of problems which can happen. One is in vitro or challenges in bottle. Second is in vivo, the challenges in body. Challenges in bottle or in vitro challenges are chemical changes, be it non-covalent or covalent. All of those things can go wrong, and I explain quickly. Their denaturation is just unfolding of your molecule. Adsorption is as it depict here. The molecule start interacting with the surfaces, be it the vial, be it the administration set. Aggregation, you see this is the monomer. It starts getting, bigger dimers and tetramers formed here. Precipitation is that when aggregation becomes too big, it starts just settle down as a precipitate. Covalent processes or covalent degradation are once again the similar as for small molecule. It could be deamidation based on the sequence in the side chain of amino acids, oxidation, proteases, and so on and so forth. These are again depiction of what can go wrong with certain amino acids here. And asparagine, for example, is prone to deamidation. There can be a formation of succinimide or isomerized form there. Methionine, on the other hand, this is another amino acid which can get oxidized. There's a sulfur which can get into sulfoxide or sulfoxone. Of course, once this is formed, methionine is not able to interact with the molecule. How can we deal with it? We can deal with those challenges by formulation approach. So we add the excipients which protects against those. We can also use storage or delivery aspects, right? We'll focus on formulation. There are different excipients which can be used to stabilize those. Surfactant, for example, prevents the denaturation and surface interaction. Albumin is another protein which can be added to the formulation, and instead of pure protein of interest getting degraded, it's albumin which gets degraded, right? Sugar cryoprotectants are other type of excipient which can protect. And once again, I'm do not want that we get disconnected again. And here is approach of preventing degradation. Depending on the nature, if there is solubility challenges, we add solubility enhancing agent, which are some of the amino acids. If we go for freeze-dried product, we add sugars as a lab. Storage is another important aspect here. We can remove the water. Water is the media for degradation. So we remove the water and try to make the position more stable there. Freeze-dried is lyophilized product, whereby we protect it against inherent degradation, at least for the molecule. Storage is another approach whereby we can protect, for example, oxidation from sunlight can be protected by using opaque. This principle is exactly the same as for small molecules. Use of airtight container is another approach which can be used to prevent against challenges like oxidation. Quickly hovering through our challenges in vivo. Once the protein is administered in the body, there can be several things which can go wrong. It can be eliminated by B and T cells, which, if the protein is foreign in nature, it can be considered as an antigen and thereby getting removed there. Proteolysis, which means there are proteins in the molecule which chop off the protein of interest. Small peptides and proteins, they are removed by our kidneys, and so on and so forth. How to deal with those? There are several approaches here. We can, of course, modify the protein sequence. Can modify the protein of interest to have less propensity of proteolysis. For example, you can add PEG, polyethylene glycol, in order to make the structure larger. Protein annihilation. Albumin is a stable protein. We can add the small peptide along with albumin in order to make it more stable. Nano formulation or microsphere or encapsulating proteins are some of the other approaches, right? Now let's, in the last section, discuss a little bit about potential opportunities. If you see here, this is a list of area where development is emphasized. Oncology and infectious diseases are among the one being lead ones. And once again, here the emphasis is on infectious disease right now. Also, this continues by virtue of being in the pandemic situation originating from the infectious causes. There are two things I would like to point out here: first in class and breakthrough therapy. Here is the percent of approval, and if you see the first in class, green one, and breakthrough therapy and orphan indication, these are the bunch of activities: orphan, first in class, breakthrough. If we are into these ranges, the chances of drug getting approved is roughly 40%, which is really very promising considering the small molecule landscape, which is where the approval percentage is much smaller. I think I will skip some of those slides. With one last comment on neglected topical diseases. I think there are several series of diseases which are mostly prevalent in India. That's the list of those diseases. India is ranked globally #1, and there's huge opportunity here to work on. Of course, there are efforts going on for small molecules, but a large molecule landscape has largely unexplored in this area. One of the reason is cost related, but a therapy can be developed efficiently if we find out those cost effective solution plus a drug which works against those neglected topical diseases. I think with this, I would like to conclude that there's a huge emphasis on movement from small molecule to large molecule, be it for infectious disease. We saw the vaccines, COVID-related vaccines, all of those are, of course, biotech origin. There are several things which we can learn from small molecules, like the degradation pathways. We can certainly emphasize on learning from the degradation pathway for small molecule and can apply for large molecules. That can certainly be done. And last but not the least, we had to think about training manpower to, especially the pharma domain, pharmaceutical, B-Pharm, M-Pharm candidates to abridge the knowledge in biopharmaceutical landscape. I will stop here to have any question or discussion points. Hello.
Sachin sir, your presentation was very nice. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Whatever your topic role of biopharmaceuticals in daily use was whatever the way of presentation is very nice, except in few times that voice is not audible and reconnected. And like Swiss is famous for chocolates, like that whatever your topic is also given very good flavor to the audience. And you told about this the difference between the small molecules and the biomolecules and the way of manufacturing between the two things, and whatever the global significance of this macromolecules or biomolecules. And you told about the manufacturing process like upstream process or downstream process and filling and finishing process. All these topics are whatever your given presentation is very nice, and hope that the audience can learn, can be benefited with this the presentation. And I ask Barik sir to give the comments.
Yes, sir. Yes, this presentation by Dr. Sachin Dubey is excellent, and this topic also is very appropriate. The role of biopharmaceutics in the present day disease management. In fact, the disease management is a biggest challenge in the today. In the scenario like the several type of drugs, adverse reactions, there are different type of biopharmaceutics, pharmacokinetics, and pharmacodynamics. So in that scenario, when we are selecting the rational drug therapy, so in that scenario, obviously the selection of the drug based on these physicochemical characteristics or the biopharmaceutics is a very, very important for the disease management. Unless we know this proper etiology or mechanism of the disease and physicochemical characteristics of the drug and its appropriate the delivery dose and all these things, then this disease cannot be managed properly. Dr. Dubey has touched upon the many area in the area as you have sir mentioned that there's large molecules, small molecules, biomolecules, and monoclonal antibodies, and even some formulation parts also there. So it covers the larger area in many areas. So yes, it's nice, but this biopharmaceutics basically deals with this how this drug it's with the physicochemical characteristics converted into this therapeutic action. So it's the different properties like solubility, permeability, then molecular size, and all these things, how it can be utilized for therapeutic action or therapeutic activity. So this is the basic concern of this biopharmaceutics. And that's finally it's estimated in the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. So he has mentioned beautifully that many parts section. I think this audience is able to understand this how it's important, particularly in the disease management cases, the application of biopharmaceutics. And if any questions are there from audience, then you can discuss, and speaker is here to answer. I think it's open for this audience to ask some questions, or should we ask later on, Dr. Dahia?
No, it's okay to go ahead now
Uh,
because speaker will be free then.
okay then.
You can invite now only if any questions are there.
Okay. Okay, if a few questions are there, we can deal. So, from audience, if any questions are there,
Just unmute yourself and raise your question. The speaker is ready to give you the answer.
I think all audience is understand this whole subject, because Dr. Dubey has presented in a very slowly and nicely, though some interruptions are there. Of course, this is a technical problem, it's nothing to do, but he has a very clearly in a simple language, and the difficult topics with the picture, text, graphs, and all these things. He explained very nicely the different data, statistics, the structures, and all these things. So he has revealed this all these biopharmaceutics in different aspects beautifully. Thank you, Dr. Dubey. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, can you hear me on this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, I tried to dial it on the on another device now. Unfortunately, it's we saw some challenges, but I hope I could make the point across.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you, Dr. Dubey, for the informative session, and we hope to see you again on this type of platform to educate us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, organizers, we can move to the next speaker now. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Shall we move to next section? Next speaker?
Yeah.
Yes, Anupama Sathanan, please, you can start the introduction of the second speaker of today's section.
Okay, sir. I am happy to introduce the profile of Dr. Karthikeyan, Professor and HOD, Department of Pharmacy Practice, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies. Sir has completed his D.Pharm and B.Pharm degree from C.L. Bade Mehta College of Pharmacy, Chennai, and continued to do his post-graduation M.Pharm degree in JSS College of Pharmacy, UT. And he also received Professor E. Venugopal Best Outgoing Student Gold Medal for securing first place in M.Pharm degree under Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University, Chennai. He won many prizes and certificates in both curricular and extracurricular activities. He also done his MBA degree in hospital management from Alagappa University, Karaikudi, Tamil Nadu, and completed his postgraduate diploma in clinical research course with first class from Annamala University, Chidambaram. He completed his PhD in Faculty of Pharmacy, Pacific Academy of Higher Education and Research, University, Udaipur in the year 2018. He participated in various conferences, seminars and workshops, and presented many research papers in conferences at both national and international level. He is the speaker in Asian Association of Schools of Pharmacy conference organized by Haiphong University of Medicine and Pharmacy, Haiphong City, Vietnam in the year 2016. And for the same, he received international travel grant from DST Serve Government of India and speaker at joint event on global pharmacovigilance and advanced pharmacy organized by Colchester Hospital University NHS Foundation Trust, UK, held at Sydney, Australia in the year 2018. And for the same, he received international travel grant from CSIR Government of India. Sir has received Best Pharmacy Teacher Award in the year 2018, 19, and 20 from the Institute of Scholars, Bangalore, Indian Pharma Education Society, Lucknow, and NFPS respectively. In the year 2021, he received Young Outstanding Academician Award from Academic Growth Foundation and Climate New Delhi and Young Pharma Personality Award from Pharmalog and APTI New Delhi. He is having more than 25 research papers to his credit and reviewer and editorial board member in various journals. And he is having more than 12 years of experience in pharmacy practice, teaching and research. He also serving as editorial board member in DIC newsletter bulletin published by SRM College of Pharmacy and serving as member in one of the Vistas committee. And he is a life member in various professional bodies such as IPA, IHPA, IPGA, APTI, ISCA, IPES, APP, SPER, and NFPS. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your kind introduction. So shall I take the session now?
Yes, sir. You can start.
Yes, yes. Screen is we able to see, sir?
Yes, sir. It's visible. Sir, please.
Okay. So good morning to one and all. I'm presenting here.
Good morning, sir.
So my topic today, I'm going to discuss about the advancement in clinical pharmacy practice. So what is clinical pharmacy? First, we need to know what is clinical pharmacy, how it's been came to existence. Okay, so first, what is clinical pharmacy? So clinical pharmacy is coming under the health science category. Okay, health science discipline where pharmacists provide patient care by optimizing the medication therapy by embracing the philosophy of pharmaceutical care. Okay, so pharmaceutical care is the one every pharmacist will give. All the pharmacists, I am not specifically mentioning about the clinical pharmacy service. We have previous hospital pharmacy, okay, dispensing pharmacist, okay, and also community pharmacists. So many pharmacists we have. Radio pharmacist, all the radio pharmaceutical pharmacist will be the radio pharmacist. Okay, nuclear pharmacist. So many terms are there, but who mostly been very associated closely with patients is that clinical pharmacist. Okay, so that is the why. Because why I'm not blaming that other pharmacists cannot be associated with patients. So they've been associated with the patients only by giving the medications as well as by providing the counseling points and the frequency of administration regarding the counseling of how to take the medications, okay, like that. But clinical pharmacy is the one who've been closely associated with the pharmacy where the pharmacist can enter the ward. Okay, so that is the main difference between the other pharmacists and this clinical pharmacist. So clinical pharmacist is the one who provide the patient care by optimizing the medication therapy. So in what way they may do this optimization? So by reviewing the medication chart review, by doing the medication chart review. So based on the chart review, they may go for this optimization. Okay, so individualization of the therapy. Okay, they may monitor the drug interactions, anything is been present in that. Okay, what are the drugs being prescribed? So based on that, is there any interactions between them? Okay, any area the patient been suffering? Okay, so all those things they may be keeping in mind, and they may change if any difficult or if any interactions they've been found, it may be reported to the physician and they may ask for the change in the prescription. So this is the way the clinical pharmacy is being established. Okay, why has been such important thing in now present scenario. Okay, on top of all the pharmaceuticals. So now the other, because of that, all the syllabus being changed to mostly this clinical pharmacy. Okay, the subjects being included like pharmacotherapeutics, clinical pharmacy, community pharmacy, everything's been included in all the curriculum, especially in D-Pharm curriculum. They've been changed. The curriculum was there previously in 1991 education regulation. Now it's been revised, the education regulation 2020. Based on that, they may introduce more clinical pharmacy subjects. Okay, so that's why the patient care plus medication use is that optimization of health outcomes. Okay, so both the care as well as the regarding medication also the pharmacist will take care. So in that way, the optimization of health outcomes will be better. Okay, so this is the latest and unmapped discipline of pharmacy. So how the history of clinical pharmacy, how it's been established. The existence of clinical pharmacy as a professional practice due to the poor medicines controls in systems in hospitals in 1960s. So mainly this clinical pharmacy practice has been established in UK and US. Okay, so from there it has been established to Australia and other countries. Okay, so from in our country we established the clinical pharmacy services from the Australia with the help of Australian pharmacists only. Okay, so due to this Pharma Bridge program, most of the faculties went to the Australia and they're been stayed over there and they been educated what is pharmacy practice and what is clinical pharmacy. So they brought here and they implemented the things here. Okay, so in 1992, from 92 onwards, it's been established here in India and led to the presence of pharmacists in patient care areas, along with techniques like unification of prescription. So each and every patient has to have that individualized thing and individualized care. Okay, unification. Mainly, previously it was that most compounding jobs were there. Okay, so due to that, the pharmacists been termed as compounders previously in 1980s. Before 80s and all, it's been termed as compounders. So okay, so each and every now also the in Sutix practical we used to do all this carbonated mixture, kaolin mixture, okay, antidiarrheal mixture, everything we used to prepare now also. So this type of settings was there previously in 1980s. Okay, that time the pharmacist will have more close relationship with the patients, even though the doctor is not been there in the clinics or in the hospital. They may go and see the compounder and they get the medicines and they may go. So previously it was not there. The OTC medications and other medications was not there previously. So everything's been, they may come to the compounder and they may take the medications. Okay, so that time and all, we don't have this much of more importance is there for pharmacist. Okay, so that time. Okay, so now presence of more pharmaceutical companies and multinational companies, they have been coming with the ready-made formulations. Okay, so dosage forms, different dosage forms, and because of that, the pharmacist role has been minimized. Especially in that setting up of the community pharmacy as well as the other dispensing. So each and every all healthcare providers have been able to dispense the medications. Okay, so I am not criticizing or anything any other healthcare professionals here. Okay, so the pharmacist responsibilities and also duties, other healthcare people has been dominating in the pharmacy professions nowadays. Okay, so because of that, ready-made formulations been already been, because the strip package unit dose dispensing system. Okay, so everything is there. So one thing we may take it as an advantage, because the formulations been going several steps. Okay, so it's not so easy. We cannot blame the industry people also. So okay, they've been striving very hard in bringing one formulation to the market. Okay, so it's been lots of people's hard work. Okay, so we cannot neglect it as it is. Okay, so because of that, they're doing the good job, but most of the people that misutilizing, because of that, we are not able to show the importance of pharmacists here. Okay, so now this is the time for the clinical pharmacists being termed, and they've been given postings as clinical pharmacist and drug information pharmacist. Okay, so other than pharmacovigilance also, pharmacovigilance associate, okay, PVP, under PVP program. So many jobs being made, and it's been nowadays it's going to come, and most of the state governments now started realizing these things, and they have been recruiting the clinical pharmacists. Okay, it's been slow and steadily, it's been going on. Hopefully this clinical pharmacy activities will be given importance in coming days. Okay, so unification of prescription. So each and every patient has to be considered, and the unification. If any mistakes or if anything is being found in the prescription, it has to be monitored and it has to be modified, and we have to prevent the further complications of the patients. Okay, so unification. So each and every individual. Okay, so depends upon their physical and also lab data. So we need to give the proper drugs. Okay, that is called unification of prescription. So the doctors may be very busy because of the overcrowd of the patients. They've been waiting area will be full. Okay, so the doctors, whenever they see the patients in crowd, so they may want the each and every one to be seen, and also it's been given importance. So it's not going to happen at that point of time, because the crowd will be increasing, especially in the public hospitals. Okay, so in the government setting hospitals, the crowd will be more. So the doctor not able to, even though if he's coming forward to give all this help to the patients, they cannot. Okay, sometimes they cannot. So they may be considered to be a very busy profession. So in that case, the clinical pharmacists involve themselves, and they may take care of each and everything. If any mistakes committed by the physician due to that busy schedule, so the pharmacist, the clinical pharmacist will take care of that patient, and they may modify the things. Okay. Okay. So administration documents. Okay, so how the drugs has to be administered. So the administration documents has to be very clear. Okay, and also the documents to be maintained. Okay, so it's quite difficult to maintain the hard copy. So most of the hospitals, they have their they have been giving the unique ID to the patients, so that when they have been visiting to the hospital, previous visit on which date, and the next date, they have been coming for refill of the prescriptions. So everything they have to, excuse me. Hello. Hello. ஏமா கூப்பிட்டுக்கிட்டே இருக்கிற, கட் பண்றேன்னா என்னமா விஷயம்? என்ன ஆச்சு சொல்லு. சரி வந்துரு. Sorry for the interruption. This administration documents play a vital role, and also it helps whenever if you are giving any case sheet or any sheets regarding the prescription, the patient tend to lose the documents, and they may coming to the clinic or the hospital next time without their files, okay, or without the proper documents. So even in that case, the pharmacist will have the backup records here in the hospital, so that what are the drugs being prescribed previously, and when they have been came for the last consultation. So everything, it will be documented, and apart from that, their lab data also will be there. Okay, so if we provide the unique ID to the patients, and it's quite easy, and so many softwares are there to help this things. Okay, so to maintain the, especially the medication records of the patients. So that is why this administration of documents is being considered to be the very important one for clinical pharmacist point of view. Okay, and unit dose dispensing, that unit dose, we can give okay, say for example, if we have 10 tablets is been coming in prescription in the strips packing. Okay, so it's only one drug. So previously it was not there. We need to powder and you need to divide in divide doses. Okay, so say for elderly population, it will be like that. Pediatric population, they may take one tablet and it will be divided into 4. So now it's not happening at that time. The pediatric formulations, geriatric formulations, okay, especially in geriatric and pediatric, the mostly the liquid preparations being there, mostly syrups, elixirs, and all, as well as for the elderly people also, geriatric patients also have the unit dose dispensing system. So it's not been the previously it was we have to take the adult dose and we have to divide into 4 or 5 depends upon the age of the patients. Okay, so we need to divide that and we need to separately we need to pack it and we have to give it morning night you have to take like that. We usually it was happened. Okay, we have to take in the mortar and pestle, we need to powder it and we have to divide doses. Okay, now pediatric formulations been available separately, so it's not it's not that we are avoiding the difficulty things in dividing doses. So in that case, when we are dividing the doses, the uniformity is also not being present. So sometimes most of the drugs, the active ingredients will go in that particular doses. So uniformity will not be there while dividing the doses. So now it's been avoided. Each and every formulation will have that unit dose dispensing system. So that is why this unit dose dispensing system plays such a vital role, and it's been advantageous when compared to the previous era. Okay, and decentralization of pharmacy. Okay, so decentralization. So previously only one pharmacy will be there. Okay, so previously only one pharmacy will be there, and we have to get all the patients has to go to that centralized pharmacy and they have to get. So decentralization means we need to split the pharmacy into inpatient pharmacy, outpatient pharmacy, especially the ward pharmacy nowadays has been very useful. Okay, so in the nursing station, the pharmacy will be set up for short. Okay, so each and every year for any emergency conditions, the nurse should not be rushed to the pharmacy to get the medication. So instead of that, they will have the some basic medications and important life-saving medicines will be given by placing the indent. They get the medications and keep it ready at the wards. Okay, even though some pharmacy, the clinical pharmacist will also been appointed and they also will monitor the issuing of the drugs for the patients. Okay, so each and every time during the especially during the night time, the patient may have some cough. So for that cough, they cannot run to the pharmacy. Sometimes 24 hours the pharmacy is there, they may get the medication. Sometimes the pharmacy may lock after hours, after the OP hours or the after evening hours, it may be locked. Okay, some in most of the hospitals. Okay, so in that case, the nurse or the clinical pharmacist will dispense the drugs whenever it's been present in the ward itself. Okay, so decentralization is that they have to split that. Okay, so say for example, floor pharmacy system also will be there, floor stocking or floor pharmacy also will be there. So each and every floor, the pharmacy will be there. So in first floor, they have some general medicine and other gastrointestinal ward, okay, surgical ward, anything is there. So based on that, the medicines will be divided and it may be stored only for that particular room. Say for example, in second floor, ICCU, intensive cardiac care unit, another hypertension cardiovascular ward. Okay, so urology ward, all other things being present in the second ward. So based on the specialties present in that particular ward, the pharmacy medicines will be based on being stored in that particular ward. Okay, so that is very easy for maintaining the things, and also the patients we are expecting from the particular area only. Okay, for particular clinical status. So based on the clinical status conditions, the pharmacy will be established. So it will be the overcrowd will be avoided in the centralized pharmacy area. Okay, so only the outpatients may go and get the medication from the centralized pharmacy. So usually it has been located in the ground floor. Okay, the term ward pharmacist transition to the clinical pharmacist in late 1970s. Okay, So these are the clinical pharmacist roles in hospital activities. So collection of complete exhaustible history of the patient. Okay, so sometimes, as I already discussed, that due to overcrowd and the doctor not able to concentrate much on that individual patients. Okay, say for example, during the night time, the patient coming and getting admitted, okay, in the the early morning or in the night time. Okay, so that time the patient also has not been in good condition to give the details. Even the attendants who have been accompanying the patient not able to take the records. Okay, sometimes they may be rushed to the hospital with emergency. Okay, they may call upon the ambulance and they may rush to the hospital. They forget to take the medication history on the past days, any files is there, anything is there, they may come directly to the hospitals. Okay, in that condition, the doctors also not being able to get the details, and they may simply put the admissions on examination. They may find the vital signs, and on examination all the history has been, they may allot it to the wards, they may sending to ICU or anything, depend upon the conditions. Okay, so in that case, the pharmacist will be going and getting the things. Okay, the pharmacist go and get the details from the patient. So they may go to the bedside of the patient, bedside counseling will be done, so they may get all the information which has been missed really in the medication chart. Okay, especially the past medical history and past medication history, that is very much important. Okay, so sometimes they may not have the prescription, also they may lose the prescription. So in that case, we ask the attendants to bring the medications what are all he is having at home. Okay, so once they bring that, we used to we notify the physician regarding the medications been using for the things. Okay, sometimes the complaints also and non-complaints also will be there for the patients. Okay, so we need to calculate all those things. Last visit, when they visited, okay, why they have been not complaints to the drugs. So many factors are there for non-compliance. Okay, so mainly this pharmacoeconomic okay, so the drug cost will be playing an important role. Okay, sometimes, and also sometimes they may feel better after taking 1 or 2 doses, so they may simply stop. Okay, like fever conditions, all other cold conditions, what they may, so they follow the same things for the life-saving drugs also. Hypertension, sometimes they miss the dose, they may forget. Okay, for 1 day or 2 day they may not take, for the third day they may take. Okay, so because of this complaints, they are not coming out of that illnesses. Okay, sometimes it may go very strange. Okay, so that is why, so this collection of complete exhaustible history is when is needed. Okay, to give individualist therapy treatment, and this history of the patient is very much essential, so that who is going to collect all these details is the clinical pharmacist. The pharmacist, the one who bridges, who act as a bridge between the physician and the patient. Okay, so this way, rightly said that this collection of complete history of the patient will be done by the clinical pharmacist. So one of the major thing. Okay, so sometimes even in my personal thing, I counsel the poisoning case. Okay, so one poisoning case I counseled. Okay, so in Ooty government hospital, they usually agriculture is the main thing over there. Okay, the potato and carrot, all those things will be there more. So these herbicides and pesticides will be more commonly used. Okay, it's more usual. Okay, whenever they want to commit suicide, they may take this poison. Okay, and they may come to hospital for treatment. Okay, and then one patient recovered after gastric cleavage and all other things. I counsel the patient directly. Okay, so what is the condition? So simply they may escape from police and other cases and all, they may tend to escape. Okay, so by saying that I got stomach pain, I taken, so I'm not able to bear the pain. So for that I committed this, I taken this, like that. Okay, usually this is the reason. In any poisoning case, if you go and ask, they may tell stomach pain. Because of the stomach pain, I taken this poison, like that. I'm not able to bear the pain, I taken this. Okay, so actual cause is that he was in love with one other okay, a girl. So the parents, they refused to marry her. Okay, Okay, that is the main condition. Okay, he never revealed this to doctors or whatever things. Okay, so this is for a thing. Why I am saying this example is that the pharmacists will be more closely related to the patients mainly. Okay, so they may open up with the things. So how much the counseling will be effective, I'm saying that the pharmacist counseling. Okay, so this way they reveal the truth, and we ask the patient, instead of doing the clinical pharmacy activities, we are doing the other counseling things. Okay, so this is why I'm saying, okay, this is for funny. And documentation of allergies, hypersensitivities, and drug dependence. Okay, so whenever the patient comes up, apart from the collecting the patient medical history, we need to ask the whether the drug patient been allergic to any specific drugs. Okay, for example, I may say myself as I am allergic to ciprofloxacin. So whenever I am going to physician, first thing I will report this, I've been allergic to ciprofloxacin, sir. Okay, so don't prescribe me cetirizine, sir, because it may give me more sedativeness, so I'm not able to do the daily activities like that. Okay, so in that case they may give levocetirizine. Okay, instead of cetirizine, they may opt for levocetirizine, the racemic modification of the levocetirizine, sorry, cetirizine. Okay, so that is the things we have to priorly inform the physician as well as the pharmacist who've been there. So documentation of allergies, we need to document. Okay, so if they take, what will happen? Okay, so they may come up with all the things. Okay, so I am having this asthma, rhinitis is there, running nose is there, rash will be there whenever I'm taking this drug, the rash will be there, and streaming eyes. Okay, so the fluids will be coming regularly from the eyes, and insects, and also the medicaments which mean allergy. Okay, as I already told, ciprofloxacin is mean allergy to me. So same wise, some penicillin products and antibiotics mostly allergic to many people. Okay, so if allergy is not there, it's good. So allergy is there, we should not further complicate it. So for that purpose only, we need to document all these things. Okay, and dust allergy will be there. Sometimes rubber also will be, if they wear gloves, sometimes it won't suit that particular persons. Okay, so that is why we need to think. And seafoods, especially the seafoods and vegetables like brinjal. Okay, and all these things, radish. Okay, all the watery vegetables will be. And also the because of the animals. Okay, we pet animals, the fur been coming out from their body, the pet's body, it also will cause some allergic reactions. Okay, apart, so these are the examples how we need to give importance to that. Okay, and apart from that, the clinical pharmacist has to inquire about the drug interactions. They have to monitor whenever the prescription is being given, so they have to monitor these drug interactions, and also is there any drug food interactions. Okay, so these are the examples. So mainly uh, this drug food interactions you all know commonly. Okay, so tetracycline and milk we should not take together. So many examples are there. And if any drug, herbal drug interactions also is more common. Okay, so I forgot to mention here. So herbal drug interactions has been very uh, essential thing to look after. Okay, especially if you are taking the drugs, say for example, so many this fenugreek and cinnamon. Okay, and curry leaves. Okay, and aloe vera. Okay, this all found to be very effective. Okay, in preventing the diabetic activities, especially the jumbo seeds. Okay, jumbo seeds is also been very proved to be very effective, as and also this what do you say, moment bitter gourd. Bitter gourd also is found to be very effective. Okay, so these are the foods, and also herbs also. Okay, so so many herbs also will be there. Okay, so the doctor, for diabetic conditions, the patient may go and visit the physician, and they may get the medications in the conventional drug treatment, they may get, say for example, metformin and also glimepiride or any other supportive drugs. Okay, so they may be administered sitagliptin or any other drugs being prescribed to the patient for the to bring down the hyperglycemic levels to normal glucose levels. Okay, so in that case, the patient may uh, get get influenced by their friends and also for the neighbors. You have suffering from diabetes, you take this powder, it's very good effective. Okay, so some diamix, so many diabetic supplements being available in the market. Okay, even from Himalaya, leading companies been giving the capsules and also all other things also has been nowadays ready-madely available. Okay, in the form of capsules, in the form of powders, in the form of granules, everything has been available. Okay, so based on that, the patient influenced by their neighbors and friends, they also, along with the conventional therapy, they also taking the herbal supplements. So what will happen? So herbal supplements is very highly things. It give result in good. As per my research, my PhD research, I proved that only the herbal supplements, those who are taking only the herbal supplements will found to be the very effective one. Okay, so it's been giving very good rate. Yeah, there have been the glycemic levels coming very suddenly. It's been lowering. Okay, so sometimes the things may be stopped also. Okay, so conventional therapy, if you are taking that much of effect, is not there. So if you are taking both the drugs together, conventional therapy and also the herbal therapy together, it's quite drastic. Okay, sometimes you may walk after taking the both the drugs together, you happen to walk on the road, you immediately get fainted. Okay, I have seen so many cases. You may fall down in the road. Sometimes it may lead to fatal things. Okay, so that's why it has to be intimated to the physician and also to the pharmacist. The pharmacist should counsel the patient, so then only they may come out with the truth. Okay, and clinical pharmacist roles in hospital activities. So as I told, monitoring of drug therapies is of my prime responsibility of the clinical pharmacist, and ensure safety and efficacy of drugs, especially in the narrow therapeutic index like digoxin, lithium, etc. Okay, so all know narrow therapeutic drugs. What is my narrow therapeutic index drugs? Are the drugs where small differences in dose or blood concentration may lead to serious therapeutic failures and adverse drug reactions that are life-threatening or result in persistent or significant disability or incapacity. Okay, so this is the small differences in dose, okay, that may lead to fatal things. Okay, say for example, digoxin, we have been administered only in 0.25 mg, 0.25 mg only we have been prescribing for arrhythmic conditions. Okay, so that dose we have to administer for 5 days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If we are starting the drug on Monday, it has to be stopped up to Friday. Okay, so if you administer on Friday, we have to give 2 days rest period. Okay, otherwise it will be very the side effects of the digoxin will be more. Okay, atrial fibrillation, accumulation of fluid will be more, so automatically the pedal edema and facial edema, puffy things, and also okay, the lung edema also will be there. Okay, so that is why these drugs will be given rest 2 days, then it will be administered. So same way most aminoglycosides. Okay, so gentamicin, okay, all other things we need to, because aminoglycosis side effects is that ototoxicity. Okay, so we need to be very careful in giving the doses. And carbamazepine, digoxin, digitoxin, okay, phenytoin, phenobarbital, rifampicin, theophylline, and warfarin. So these are the drugs we need to be very careful. Okay, so we need to monitor. Okay, therapeutic drug monitoring has to be done for these drugs. Okay, if we are not going to follow for other drugs, it is very essential to follow for these drugs. Okay, so especially and cyclosporin also. Okay, immunosuppressant drugs. Okay, especially it's been administered for kidney transplantation and all other things, immunosuppressants. So we need to monitor. Okay, so slight dose variations also will play a very role. The potent, it's considered to be the potent drugs. Okay, and renal and hepatic disorders. So we need to, for these geriatric conditions, we need to, especially mostly the renal and hepatic disorders will be there in the elderly people. So we need to adjust the dose accordingly and monitoring the ADR and its prevention. And monitoring of pharmacokinetic parameters like plasma concentration of drugs and enzymes and half-life, we need to concentrate. Okay, so that is why this therapeutic drug monitoring. Okay, so how we will monitoring the pharmacokinetic parameters? We need to take the plasma of the patients, and we need to evaluate the concentration of the drugs, how much drugs being prescribed, whether the required amount of the drug present in the blood, or it's been more than the required things. Okay, so that we need to evaluate, and based on that, inter-individual therapy we can give to the patients. Okay, and selection of proper drug or dosage form help physician choose depending on the bioavailability and equivalence of such products. So any such evidence has been there, been conducted bioequivalence and bioavailability studies, and it's been more appropriate, then they can choose that type of drugs. And so if you compare that bioavailability, so we can check that how far the action of the drug will be given to the patients. Okay, so that will be to the patient. So these are the clinical pharmacist role. Okay, so whenever the doctor administer also, so he may be not much drug knowledge he may not have, but even though it's clinical pharmacist responsibility to make some things clear to the physicians. Okay, and clinical pharmacist role, mainly this antibiotic stewardship program has been very much essential now, and it's been very good if you conduct periodically this antibiotic stewardship programs. Okay, so first thing that enhancing infection and prevention and control. So main thing is that infection prevention and control. So these are the program's objectives, and controlling the source of infection, and prescribing antibiotics when they are truly needed. Okay, so when they are truly needed, so underline this point. So prescribing antibiotics when they are truly needed. Okay, without need we should not give. Okay, say for example any viral infection is there, is simply waste in giving antibiotics, because antibiotics is the antibacterials mainly. Okay, so it's not going to be very effective for a viral infection. So common cold and all, if you give antibiotics, it's not going to be very effective. Okay, and prescribing appropriate antibiotic with adequate dosages. Okay, and using the shortest duration of antibiotics based on evidence. Okay, so we have to start from the basic things. Okay, so suddenly we cannot administer the broad spectrum antibiotics. Okay, so we have to start from basic things, amoxicillin, ampicillin, then only we have to go for this one. Okay, so broad spectrum ciprofloxacin or norfloxacin or whatever may be the conditions. Okay, so we need to start from the basic things. Okay, and reassessing treatment when culture results are available. Okay, reassessing treatment when culture results are available. So it's a good thing to select the antibiotic thing is that we need to do the microbiological assay. Okay, culture test. Okay, so whenever with the culture, so they may be coming with a solution that the drugs will be, which antibiotic will be resistant for that particular type of infection. Okay, so based on the culture sensitivity test, they may give you the, so we have to reassess the treatment. So previously on prophylaxis, they may start with one drug. So immediately once we get the culture results, so we have to switch over the antibiotics to the which drug has been very effective to that particular infection. We have to change that. Okay, so that is why. Okay, so here mostly this culture sensitivity test not been carried out. So unless otherwise the UTI or any other infection is there, so the physician been suggesting for culture sensitivity test. Otherwise the culture sensitivity test not been done. Okay, so usually, okay, so that also one of the main cause for this creation of this antibiotic stewardship program. Okay, and supporting surveillance of antimicrobial resistance and HAIs and monitoring antibiotic consumptions. Okay. And educating the staff. Okay, so mainly supporting an interdisciplinary approach. So it's not only depend on one department, it's been dependent on interdisciplinary approach. Okay, so we need to maintain this interdisciplinary approach apart from educating the staff. Okay, so the goals of antimicrobial stewardship programs is that attenuating or reversing antimicrobial resistance, okay, preventing antimicrobial related toxicity, and reducing the cost of inappropriate antimicrobial use and healthcare associated infections. So these are the main goals of antimicrobial stewardship program. Okay, and the pharmacist responsibilities for antimicrobial stewardship include promoting the optimal use of antimicrobial agents and reducing okay, reducing the transmission of infections and educating health professionals, patients, and the public. So these are the pharmacist responsibilities. Okay. So clinical pharmacist roles in hospitals and designing health and drug policies. Okay, so we need to be supportive to the as well as hospital drug policies as well as to the national health policies. Okay, so and what are the drugs to be procured and what are the what are the important life-saving drugs to be stocked, and based on the pharmacy therapeutic committee recommendations. So the pharmacist is the main member. Okay, he is the secretary of the pharmacy and therapeutics committee. So chief pharmacist automatically will be fitting into the PTC, and the PTC roles of PTC has been enormous. So they may go to the each and every head of the department and they may call for. So what are the drugs to be included on my anything, any banned drug is there in the list. So they have to notify the physician, and instead of banned drugs, so they have to remove that from the hospital formulary, and they want to add one more drug. So they make ask the physician what are the drugs to be included by giving some sort selection of drugs. Okay, so there's some he may notify the physicians. So each and every HODs he has to notify, and he has to convene the meeting with all the physicians of top one and also with the chairman. Okay, so they may design the health and drug policies. Okay, so with along with all other healthcare providers, the healthcare policies will be designed in such a way so that the pharmaceutical care or healthcare will be maintained. Okay, and research and development activities. So in what way the clinical pharmacist can promote himself in research means, so he may take more data from the patients, and also he also will carry out research, and also he will be very helpful in guiding the students who have been carrying out the research. Okay, so not only the pharmacy students. So research means it includes the entire research area been conducted by all other medical students as well as the allied healthcare students also. Okay, so research and development activities and periodic bulletin abstracts, newsletters, and pharmaceutical literature. So this is the main way. So to showcase the things by producing the periodic bulletins, newsletters, and pharmaceutical literature. So okay, so that it will be projected to the other people who've been working in other hospitals as well as the thing. So these are the activities being carried out in this particular period of time. Say for example, the newsletter has been biannually, okay, or 4 times a year, or other things every 3 months, quarterly, or half-yearly, or annually. So it's whatever may be. So they have to collect all the data. They have to so printing the hard copy is quite difficult. So that nowadays all the newsletters been sending in the way of email, okay, as a soft copy. So that what are the things been happening in that particular department as well as in the hospital, as well as the achievements, academic achievements, as well as the other achievements, and what is the new drug approvals. So they want to, what are the things to be included in the newsletter? So the pharmacist have to collect all the things, and he is the one who has to look after these newsletters and also the pharmaceutical literatures, everything. Okay. Apart from that, the clinical pharmacist, sorry, drug information center. Okay, so the drug information service is the very essential service that encompasses the activities of specially trained individuals to provide accurate and unbiased, okay, factual information primarily in response to patient oriented problems occurred from the healthcare teams. Okay, so whoever the occurred from the healthcare teams means whoever published the things. Okay, so say for why we want to do the publication means, so what are the work we have been done, okay, we have been carried out, it should be known by the other professionals. Okay, so that is why we need to publish the things. So whatever the research we have been doing, that has to be forecast to the publics, all other publics, and that also viewed from different parts of the world. What are the work we have been carried out? Okay, so no need to worry about the results. Okay, so when compared to that study, our study got this much, that much, no need to worry about. Research is research. Okay, so in that way we need to, okay, they will come to understand, okay, in this population this is the result, okay, in Indian population this is the result. Okay, anyhow it's been reported. So it may help the other people to carry out the research, and it will give some idea. So that is why this drug information service also, we have been collecting the evidences, especially in the form of articles, journals. Okay, so we have been collecting and we have been providing the scientific data to the physician. Okay, so nowadays the physicians are, even the patients been very smart. Okay, so you cannot go and stand as it is, this is the drug you can take. Okay, they will come with lot questions about the drugs. Okay, so you should be in position to answer all these things. Nowadays even the doctors giving the diagnosis, before that itself, the after interpreting the lab data, the patient itself taking the mobile in the smart, each and everyone will have the smartphone now, so they may put it in the Google and they may collect some information, they come to the physician. Okay, so nowadays physician duties also is not that much easy. Okay, even, then only is pharmacist, then only comes pharmacist. So they may come to pharmacy with typical questions. Okay, it's been very great questions we cannot answer so easily. Okay, so nowadays the patient's been very clever. Okay, so it should be, so how much evident, okay, we should be subject evident. Okay, so it should be evidence based medicine should be practiced in such a way we can answer the queries raised by the patients mainly. So in that case the drug information service will be very helpful, and the softwares, the micromedex, medicines complete. Okay, so many softwares are there, and it's been very helpful in providing these informations to the healthcare providers as well as to the patients. Okay, and the information on poison, vaccines, and biologicals can also be provided. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, so what poison they've been consumed, what is the antidote. Okay, so in the drug information center, so in government hospital and all, we cannot expect the antidotes to be present ready-madely. Okay, in as a private college, so we himself buy this antidotes and keep it in the drug information center. So whenever the poison conditions patients, they've been arriving to the hospital, so they immediately they will come and get the information like what is the antidote. Okay, if an antidote is present in our drug information center, so we used to give the, okay, so the remaining things they may return it to the drug information center. Okay, it was practiced in JSS OT. This poison, especially this poisons conditions they become, we have all the antidotes been stored in the drug information center. So immediately the nursing staff will rush to the drug information center and they may ask for antidote, and they may, the patient's life is being saved. Okay, otherwise they have to go and get the because it's not going to be available very easily, antidotes. Okay, especially medicines we can get, but antidotes is quite difficult to get. So it's as a part of the service. So the drug in the drug information center itself, they used to procure and keep it ready. It will be helpful for the patients. And also vaccines and biologicals also can also be provided the information regarding vaccines. Okay, so especially the newborn babies. So if possible, we can prepare a pamphlet and we can issue to all the mothers who given birth to the babies, so that it will be very helpful. So nowadays the government also insisting, they have been giving the vaccination card. Okay, so that whenever they have to give first month or second month or third month or fourth month, every 6 months, 1 year, so every details they've been printed and they also giving. So it's our responsibility. We also can provide the same thing to the patients or the nursing mothers who have been doing the things. So whenever the vaccination schedule is there, so it will give them idea, and in this way we can perform. Okay. So patient counseling. Okay, so this is one of the important thing in the clinical pharmacy activities. Especially, I told that we cannot get all the information from the physicians. Okay, so they may turn to the pharmacist and they may get the doubts cleared. Okay, so that's why I told the patients will come with lot of questions. Okay, so we need to see patient counseling techniques we have been learned. Okay, so we have to welcome them very warmly. We should not show any type of reactions in front of them, and especially after seeing the prescription, we should not raise our eyebrow or whatever things. Okay, so what are the types of we have to avoid all the reactions. Okay, we should not keep ourselves sad. Okay, it should be pleasant always. So we should not show any type of difference, okay, to the patients, in front of the patients especially, and we need to maintain a good posture and everything. Okay, so positive outcomes. Okay, so we usually, if they're coming to our pharmacy, we need to give a positive approach. We need to deal them with a positive approach. So instead of giving a negative thing, and this medicine you are taking, oh no, like that we should not show. We should not comment on the prescriptions. Okay, so we should not show any type of things. Okay, if any psychiatric patients is there to come and ask the details regarding the drugs, you should not say that you have been affecting from psychiatric disorder. Okay, for that purpose only the doctor been given this drugs. Okay, so instead of that, okay, it's nothing is there. Okay, you have been very good. Okay, if you take these medicines regularly, will be coming out of the illness. So whatever may be the problems, if you take the medication, you be come out of that illness. Okay, if you take this medication, the sedativeness will be there. You will get lot of sleep. So no need to panic about that. So you need to take rest. Okay, so don't go outside after taking these medications. Don't drive the vehicles. Okay, so it will give sedation, so that the accidents may happen. Okay, so like that, kindly we need to elaborate the things regarding the drugs. Okay, so instead of that, the patient clinical conditions, we need to give more therapeutic regimens regarding the therapeutic usage and monitoring. So what things you need to monitor, everything we make them clear before going out of the room. Okay, the counseling room. Okay, a coordinated effort among healthcare team members will enhance patients adherence to pharmacotherapeutic regimens. So in this way, if you give the proper counseling, it automatically they may understand the importance of taking drugs. So we need to make them clearly understand. Okay, so mainly if you are doing the counseling in the government hospitals, they've been always poor. They are not able to spend more money. So we need to make them realize that. Okay, so no, if your condition becomes severe, you cannot bear the amount. Okay, it's quite difficult for you people. So to prevent that, you need to adhere to the therapy. Kindly you need to tell. You should not put order. Okay, so at the finally you have to open a question session whether the patient understand what are the things you've been revealed by you. Okay, so for many examination we can keep. Okay, when you take what are the foods to be avoided, if all these things you've been provided, means you can take some mini test with the patient by oral. Okay, so several studies have found that most of the areas could be detected and prevented. Pharmacists play an essential role in detection, identification, prevention, as well as management of ADRs. Okay, so that's why this PVP program, Pharmacovigilance Program of India, has been established, and now it's been more than 10 to 10 years, more than 10 years, it's been running very successfully. And the role of pharmacist also been more role is being performed by the pharmacist in the detection of areas and also prevention and management of areas. Okay, so the role of pharmacist is to promote maintenance, development, and ongoing evaluation of programs to reduce the risk of ADRs. Okay, by detecting, assessing, reporting the suspected area. Reporting areas is an essential component in monitoring and evaluating the activities performed in the hospitals. So it was revealed by Mahibab Muhammad Ali Al Ghorbi et al. Okay, so this they concluded. So research in pharmacy practice. Okay, so determine the safest, most effective use of medications for a given patient or population and disease state. Okay, by focusing on medication outcomes and comparative effectiveness. Okay, so medication outcomes and comparative effectiveness. This is a comparative study. Okay, so in this way we can evaluate the things. Okay, so quality of life. Okay, so how the medication proves to be very effective, and comparative, we can compare with standard drugs as well as the test drugs. So what are the drugs being administered to the patient? So based on that we can provide, okay, the effectiveness of the treatment. And also pharmacoepidemiology.
Prof. Karthikeyan.
Yes, sir.
So I think we are
Time
exceeding.
is,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Or 2 minutes, sir. I will wind up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Pharmacoepidemiology and pharmacogenomics and pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. I don't want to elaborate these things since the time is constricted. I'm sorry. So advances. Okay. So finally, I want to conclude. So mainly, this pharmacogenomics in pharmacy practice is the newly concept. Okay, how we need to this pharmacogenomics. Okay, pharmacogenetics and pharmacogenomics as a discipline is a part of precision medicine and personalized healthcare. Okay, so failure of common treatment guidelines is mainly due to the intersubject variability that can be well predicted through genetics, and therapy can be optimized. So here in the Western population, one study reporting that the drug has been giving producing this much of adverse effects. So whereas the same drug not being able to produce the same effect in our population. So because of that intersubject variability, the cytochrome P450 enzymes is not being present in that. More will be there in the present whenever the any deviations being observed is been in that population. So that cytochrome enzymes will be completely absent in our population. So mainly, so these are the things we need to be optimized. An application of pharmacogenomics in cardiovascular drugs such as clopidogrel and warfarin and its relation with CYP are successful examples. And according to the American College of Clinical Pharmacy, the white paper publication stresses that clinical pharmacists play an instrumental role in implementation, education, and research applications of pharmacogenomics. Okay. So prescription drug monitoring programs and medication therapy management. Okay, so this way you can improvise that. So these are the various clinical pharmacy activities: patient specific services, facility specific services, and global services. So you can refer these things. Okay, so this I conclude my speech, and so over to the organizers. And I thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity to deliver share my experiences in this topic. Thank you, sir.
Professor Karthikeyan, sir, whatever your topic of advances in clinical pharmacy, the way of presentation is very nice.
Thank you, sir.
And just one small question from my side. In the
Yes, sir.
olden days, You mentioned that in the olden days, the people used to go to the compounders and the compounders
Yes, sir.
will give the medicines to the patients.
Yes, sir.
So at that time, the way the usage of the medication is proper, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Usage of
nowadays-
medications is proper.
Yeah, nowadays, because we are getting the things, all the things like ready-made and unused medicines is more as compared to that of the usage medicines. Most
Yes,
of the
sir.
medicines we are keeping in the dustbins, unused medicines.
Yes.
So the wastage is more, in my opinion. What about your opinion?
Yes, sir. That time each and every raw materials we have to select, and spilling of medicaments will be there. More disadvantages is there. That's why I told, and compared to some things, advantages and some is disadvantages. Okay, so my now at present scenario is very much advantageous. This unit dose dispensing system is very effective, and the contamination, the usage, everything is being prevented now because of the quality control. So everything is been passing and coming to the market, so that it's very effective and advantageous when compared to the things. And previously the compounder they also done the excellent job in that time of things. Okay, nowadays more technology is there. Okay, and talking about the micro emulsions, nanotechnologies on whatever things. Okay, so when compared to that era, that was advantageous first of all.
So over to Barik sir.
Yes, Dr. Karthikeyan has exclusively elaborated this clinical pharmacy from very beginning, or from this traditional age to this present day. Needed to say that this clinical pharmacy has made this huge changes in our healthcare systems. The present day healthcare system, which is very modernized, with this lot of information about the health, physiology, drugs, formulations, route, and all these things.
Yes, sir.
Now, clinical pharmacist is an expert in the clinical area. Obviously, he has mentioned in the many aspects, many slides, which are very informative. That this the role of clinical pharmacist, patient counseling, then the adverse drug reaction, pharmacovigilance. These are the new age aspects are there. So he's covered, I think, this whole the subject area, and this step by step this evolution or advancements, and in future day what should be done in this in the pharmacy practice or in the clinical pharmacy area, or even the problems like adverse drug reactions or narrow therapeutic index. So in such cases, how pharmacist will deal these matters, and how he will give the advice or patient counselings. So he has nicely explained it. I think it's a very clear to everybody regarding this clinical pharmacy. Yes, it's a great revolution in this, particularly in the last 30 years. You change all the pharmacy profession, changes from industry orientation to this patient oriented or dosage oriented. So he's beautifully covered all these things. Thank you. If any questions are there, we can take up and we can deal these questions. Please, audience, from audience, let us see what are the questions are there. From audience. Sir, see if any from the chart, any questions are there? Organizer?
Nothing, sir.
I think he has yes, beautifully he has explained. Thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan.
Thank you, sir.
I think you have written any books or chapters for this?
Nothing, sir. In future, I will do that. Thank you.
Yes. But yes, the presentation is liking and informative, right? And this you have elaborated this role of clinical pharmacist or hospital pharmacist, community pharmacist. I think it will be little bit more clear. It will be better in future. I say, because the clinical pharmacist role, the hospital pharmacist role, and community pharmacist role, there is a differences are there, and particularly the clinical pharmacist is the expert of all these the practice sectors about the dosage regimen, pharmacokinetics, individual medicine, personalized medicine. So all these are the new aspects of what we have seen in USA or Europe, Australia, and all these things. So yes, sir, these are the very important. I think gradually it comes to India, and many states are following all this literature. Thank you. Nice presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
I think Dr. Dahya, we can go for the next, if any. Organizer, please.
Yeah, we can proceed further.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Karthikeya sir, for your valuable speech. Rajesh sir, shall we move to next speaker?
Yes, sir, you can proceed.
Pratibha ma'am, are you in line?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am, we can start the introduction of today's section part speaker, Professor Piyush Mittal.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce our chief guest for the today's session, Dr. Piyush Mittal. Sir is currently working as professor and HOD of pharmacy practice and pharmacology and in charge of the program at the Tirthankar Mahavir College of Pharmacy, Tirthankar Mahavir University, India. Sir is having more than 21 years of experience in pharmaceutical industry, academics, and research. He was former head of Department of Pharmacy Practice and Lay and experiential learning at International Medical University, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. His expertise includes experiential learning, problem-based learning, case-based learning, pharmacy skills development, bedside teaching, patient counseling, and objective structured clinical examination. Sir has guided more than 60 students for their research work in India and abroad. Sir has published and presented more than 50 research papers in national and international journals conferences. He is life member of Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, Qualitative Research Association of Malaysia. He is certified for good clinical practice by Ministry of Health, Malaysia. He is member of Malaysian Association of Education in Medical and Health Sciences, Malaysian Diabetes Educator Society, ESPER. He is life member of Association of Pharmacy Professionals and Joint Secretary, AAP Uttar Pradesh branch. Sir has been awarded for the successful development of Master of Pharmacy Practice. He has been awarded ESPER International Travel Grant for ESPER Europe 2018 at Barcelona, Spain. Sir has been traveled more than 15 countries for delivering research talks and recently developing My Dispense virtual learning program for pharmacy students in Tirthankar Mahavir University in collaboration with Monash University, Australia. Thanking you, sir. Thanking you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your kind words to me. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can I show my slides?
Yes, sir, you can share the screen, sir.
Now, can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. Keep it in slide share, sir. Yes, sir.
So let us start with this one of the project that we have taken in our university when I joined EMU. Here we have 800 bed multi-specialty hospital, and we are running our DIC, Drug Information Services. And we have our masters in pharmacology, and we have our PharmD program. We do have PhD in pharmacy practice as well. So this is a topic we talk about adverse events following immunization in children receiving vaccination. Why I am talking about this topic is very important these days because of the COVID-19. We'll feel that the parents, they are having hesitant to go for vaccination, and it posing the threat for the community as well. Okay. So before I'll go further, we'll discuss in this about history of immunization. So just a recap of what we know about the immunization, our history of vaccinations. Then we'll talk about the importance of acute events for adverse event because of the following the immunizations, vaccine side effects. After that, I'll discuss about one case study, not the case study, basically a research that is done with my students and one of my colleagues regarding the adverse event following the immunization. So let's discuss about the history of immunization. I think everybody knows about immunization. Can anyone from the audience differentiate the immunization and inoculation? Any one of you? Any student is there? Anyone wish to give the answer? Everyone want to listen only. Hello? Or maybe they are not allowed to talk in between. I don't know. Anyway, so when we talk about the inoculation, actually the history of vaccination starts with the first effort to prevent the disease in the society. Like we talk about smallpox. More than 3,000 years back, there is a documentation that we know that in an ancient time, they have discovered smallpox in India, Egypt, and China. Not only they discovered it, even they know that how to eradicate the disease. They are using inoculations. Inoculation is nothing what they have done. They are inoculate the whole society, the villages or the provinces. Okay. But the difference between the vaccination and inoculation is that the chances of death rate and the adverse event with the inoculation is very much higher as compared with the vaccination nowadays. Okay. So if we see, Edward Jenner is considered as the founder of vaccinology in the West in 1796, after he inoculated a 13-year-old boy with vaccinia virus for cowpox and demonstrated the immunity to the smallpox. This is the first outcome in the Western world where they know that this thing can happen. And then if we think about the source is from India, because in India, ancient time of the Buddha, the Buddhist monk, they use the similar kind of things. What they did, they are using the small amount of the poison, and with the help of the poison, they will make themselves snake bite free. So that is, we can say, the first time we can use a small kind of a vaccination way, which may later, with the help of, like in 1978, they developed first smallpox vaccine. Over the 18th and 19th century, they developed systematic implementation of mass smallpox immunization culminated to its global society. And in the year of 1979, or maybe you can say 1980, the whole world is eradicated from the smallpox. In this context, I would like to name Dr. Louis Pasteur, because his experimentation spearhead the development of the live attenuated cholera vaccine and inactivated anthrax vaccine in humans. Nowadays, if we see what kind of vaccine we are using, even in case of the indigenous vaccine that we have, the Covaxin here made in India, following the same principle followed by Dr. Louis Pasteur. Now we talk about the adverse event following immunization. What is AEFI? So any medical occurrence that occurs after vaccination, irrespective of whether the incidence is related to the vaccine, it is referred to as an adverse event following immunization. Even when the patient is taking medications and along with he is taking any vaccination drive and he's on the regular medications, if there any adverse event happen, it comes under AEFI. So immunization related adverse event responses can vary from moderate to severe, from common to extremely rare. So we can categorize it in a different way. Why we learn about the adverse event importance? Why it is important for us now? See, the vaccine which is administered to the healthy newborn or a child or youngster, it is simply a foreign body. It's just like a xenobiotic to the body. It may cause potential pyrexia. Pyrexia is there because there is a horizon temperature more than 38 degrees Celsius. And it is there because the body is showing the hypersensitivity or the immune response as response to the xenobiotic. There may be arrhythmia, there may be local pain, there may be some site-related reactions and other symptoms as a part of normal process of establishing immunity. So here we can differentiate two things. One thing is a vaccination, the other thing is immunization. So vaccination is the thing you are just administering a vaccine which prevent you from some disease, is vaccination. While we are talking about the immunization, when you administer a vaccine and you develop immunity with the help of antigen antibody reaction, and in response to that you develop antibodies, that thing is called immunization. So don't confuse between vaccination and immunization. Okay. Furthermore, there may be small chances of primary immune responses to vaccination components. There are other, some vehicle is there in the vaccine. There are complements are there. There are some intermediate materials are there. Some adjuvants are there, which is used to prepare the vaccines. That can also cause some harms or some hypersensitivity reactions to the child or to the person who administered it. Now we'll talk about the side effects, how vaccine produce the side effects to a population. As we know that, like I think everybody is vaccinated for COVID-19 these days. And as compared to two vaccines in India, I can see the pyrexia is the most common with the Covishield. Even I had 2 times pyrexia, but it gone in the 3rd booster dose. But whereas in the case of Covaxin, there was very mild reactions were there. One reason maybe behind is that because it was a killed vaccine, and in case of the Covishield, it was a live attenuated vaccine. So we'll talk about the side effects. The majorities of vaccine side effects are minimal and normally gone within few days. So there is no problem. Some people, they have side effects like their leg cramps, some they have loose motions, some have vomiting, some have redness. Almost all vaccines have the following common side effects like fever. They may have a temperature more than 38.5 degrees Celsius or above. It may be a low grade temperature as well sometimes. There are chances of inflammation. It is very, very common that every patient should have this injection site redness and soreness. Almost when the injection is oil-based injection, the patient, they have this inflammation and redness. Many patients, they claim of nausea, fatigue, and headache is also included in that. Whereas vomiting, diarrhea, tendon, and joint pain, it is very less common in administration of vaccination. Now we'll talk about, after this brief study, we'll talk about the research we have conducted in our hospital related to adverse event following the immunization in the child. So what we have done, We have obtained the ethical approval from our institutional ethics committee to study conduct on adverse event following immunization in children receiving vaccination at Tirthankar Mahavir Hospital, Muradabad. So we have included the children receiving vaccination from the birth till the age of 6 years. Then on that only included in this study. When we talk about this methodology, our inclusion criteria is children below 6 years, their health status compatible with vaccination, so they need vaccination as per the government schedule, child with optimum body weight, they are pre-immunized or they come for the booster dose or there may be a following dose. These kind of children we have included. We have excluded the child more than 7 years of age, the child, those who are having chronic illnesses, or they have a fever, or they are premature or immunodeficients. Even we have excluded the child, those who are on medications or they have some disorders, for that they have on polypharmacy. So what we have seen in our major observation and result in our study, we have taken the result of 230 individuals. Here I would like to say why we have taken the 230 individuals in this study is that although this study is for the 6 months, we have used a raw software and then we have calculated the sample size. So during the 6 month time, a total
Hello.
Hello. The voice is not coming from Mittal, sir.
hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Now you can share, sir.
Sorry, there was a connection problem. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for the assessment, we took 230 individuals. Consisting of 145 males and 85 females. And then we have studies their demographics, their type of delivery, whether this is a cesarean or a normal vaginal delivery, their previous health issues, their number rotation of doses administered, so means their booster dosing, their missed or delayed doses, their vaccine distribution in the study population, type of adverse events, and vaccine which has implicated them, and patterns of their events among the females and the males, side effects based on their severity. So this data was obtained from immunization center. We have a tertiary care center. We have our baby immunization center, which comes under the pediatric department of our hospital. So the proportion of newborn babies were more than other age groups and found to be most vulnerable. Means that what we have checked, the majority of the individuals are the newborn baby. They came for the baby vaccination center here in TMU hospital. Their parents and guardian were guided and then counsel regarding the missed and delayed dose. We have seen the prevalence. Like in case, we can say the most administered vaccines in the child is BCG vaccines, hepatitis B, OPV. We found these vaccines are most administered in the incubation center. Then we have found the most side effect in the vaccines, like MMR, hepatitis A, rotavirus vaccines, PCV, hepatitis B, and diphtheria pertussis vaccines. We found they are showing the most side effects among the vaccines causing the side effects. First, we'll discuss about the age distribution. As I told you, the newborns are more. So during this population, more than 131 individuals, they are from the first day. So they have given the medication, they are given the vaccination, followed by the second days, and then the first year. If we talk about the body weight frequency, the average weight is 1 to 3.9 kg. Since they are a newborn baby, their frequency is the most one as compared to the least one when the weight is more as they are adult. They are in the adolescent age. Their head circumference is also taken in their account. Their type of delivery is also important, whether they have the normal vaginal delivery or the lower section cesarean section. Their time of vaccine administrator means that they have given the right time and the delayed time. This posing a problem to us because majority of the patients, since they are born in the hospital, so they have given the medication, the vaccination on the right time. Whereas there are some delay, and we recall the parents, and then they have not come because of the COVID. The previous health issues we have seen, majority of the patients, they have more health issues. Few of the child, they have respiratory distress. For that, they have given the primary support in the hospital. Few of them, they have the physiological jaundice, they have hepatitis, they have dry skin, but they have been given vaccination since there is no posing to serious effects for the vaccination. Number of vaccine, if we see, so 19 child, they have received only one vaccine, 6 they have received 2 vaccine, 193 of the child, they received 3 vaccines, 7 of the children, they received 4 vaccines, and then 3 child, they received 5 vaccines. Now we talk about the side effects or the adverse event reported during this study. We can see the majority of the child, they receive the injection site reactions, and it is quite common with the vaccination, followed by the fever, and then irritability and crying we found. There are other side effects also included like hypersensitive reactions, but the frequency is lesser as compared to the other events because hypersensitive reaction comes under a serious event. When we talk about the male and the female comparability between among the side effects, we can see the male have the more injection site reaction as compared to the female, whereas we have seen the female, they have more fever as compared to the males. In case of the irritability or the crying, it is equally distributed in both the genders. While in case of diarrhea, it is also found more in the males as compared to females. And in hypersensitive reaction, we can say it is slightly more than the females. The severity of side effect, as we compare, it is generally mild. So frequency is 212 patients. You can say 92% patients, they have a mild side effect. 76 patients, they claim moderate. And then we have a 16 patients, they have a severe side effects. Now we talk about the discussion. Like we have used the vaccine, BCG, hepatitis B, OPV, they were the maximum administered dosage as newborn and was the major population in this study. So we can say majority of the population in our study, they have received these 3 vaccinations. And their patients, their parents also counseled regarding the immunization schedule and its importance, covering the optional and mandate drugs, as well as the milestone charts. So every child, they have their milestone chart, they have head circumferences, they have their body weight, they have their height, and we have to talk about and counsel about the parents regarding that. Not only that, after the post-vaccination, adverse event, we have to counsel the parent about the immunization induced side effects and how to counter these kind of side effects. So we have to guide these patients in an immunization center. We have also assessed the post-delivery check for the child who is receiving the vaccination in immunization center, like Pharm, like Ballard score for the maternal history, the congenital malformation, it is there, just to include or not to include in our study. In case of the missed or delayed doses, in this study, the vaccine hesitancy we found among the parents and the guardians, as many of the children they miss and they had delayed doses. We can say it may be because of the COVID-19. And recently, I came to know that WHO and UNICEF have also alarmed the countries regarding the missed and delayed dosing of immunization because of the COVID-19, which actually posing the various problems to the global level, because if they are not immunized globally, the chances of getting these diseases back is more. Even we can say, like in polio virus, still there are two countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, they have not eradicated the polio. Out of the world, only the two countries they are remain having the polio virus. To talk about the adverse event, the most prevalent mild side effect found in children, it was pain at the injection site, followed by fever and crying or irritability, which were largely related with the vaccines because of MMR, DTaP, BCG, and hepatitis B. And as compared to the females, these were most commonly seen. Some of the moderate side effects were pale skin. They have seen in 7 patients, vomiting in 15 child, diarrhea in 34 patients, an increase in sleep time in 30 child, loss of appetite in 18. The reaction in relation with the age was studied, and we found that the children, in according to their growing age, are more susceptible to get side effects. So we can say, as the child is older, their side effects we can find more. There may be reasons that the side effects, because they are not under the parental control, they can have that what they wish to have, and because of that, they may have some side effects. If we talk about the severe side effect, we found this hypersensitivity was mostly reported. So hypersensitivity was reported in 30 children, whereas in male is 16 and female is 14. So it's equally distributed. It is due to hepatitis A vaccination. Further, it is followed by seizures. So seizures was seen in 16 child, where male is having 3 and the females is 13. It is more significant in female due to the hepatitis B vaccination in our study. And if we talk about the intersusception, this intersusception was seen in 14 children, whereas male and female are equally distributed, 6 and 8, and it is because of the rota vaccine. So it is quite alarming. If we wish to conclude this one, it was found from the study that the vaccine hesitancy is a major area of concern and should be looked after as to overcome the threat of infectious disease. It is important to get immunized, and to reduce that, counseling and guiding parents can be effective way, out of which reduces risk exponentially. So what we are trying to say, if we see the parents, we have to counsel them. It is very, very, very important if we are counseling them, because if we are not counseling them and if they are delaying in their vaccination, or if they are not giving the booster dose because of the side effects, it may pose the disease burden to a community at large. So that is, I would like to say. I would like to acknowledge late Dr. Atul Goyal. He was my friend. He was HOD Pediatric Department, and he was co-supervised this project with me. And also acknowledge my student Shraddha and Nidila, who compiled this research as they are Pharm interns. Okay. Lastly, I would like to quote a very ancient quote from Buddha: to keep the body in a good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep the mind strong and clear. So with that, I would like to thank you all for listening patiently to me. And now I'm open for questions. If you have any, please let me. Thank you.
Dr. Piyush Muttal, good afternoon. It's Dr. Suresh. So whatever your way of presentation regarding that immunization which is carried out by your Tirthankar Mahavir Hospital was a very nice one, which will be help for the students of Pharm students who are involving in the clinical practice. So whatever the way of study and the way of presentation is also very nice. And over to Barik sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Suresh. And thank you, Dr. Piyush Mittal. Yes. Yes, Dr. Mittal has covered a very sensitive and very important area, particularly in this age where the post-COVID era, and we all are very conscious about our immunity and the safety of the health. So in this regard, particularly this immunization in children by adverse effects and the vaccination and the difference between vaccines and immunity. He has explained very nicely and a very appropriate time, I think so. And everybody should be aware and conscious about this scenario and use also. The COVID has pointed out that if we have lack of this immunity, what the serious consequences will happen. So this is applicable to not only adult, even in case of children. But when we are taking the different type of vaccines available in the market, then naturally there are different type of effect or adverse effects are there. So that we also should be care. And Dr. Mittal has explained nicely his survey and the research report also. So he elaborated this topic very nicely. At last, he is what he say quoted from this Buddha that this healthy body and healthy mind. Everybody know that this we have to perform this many activities, duties and responsibilities. So if we have good health, and obviously we can do a lot of things. We can imagine, we can plan, we can coordinate. A lot of things are there. And good health, obviously, that this first of all, our physical health it should be avoid or this absence of disease. That is a very important one. And this for this disease, of course, this immunization or protection against the disease, particular disease, is a very important aspect. Then the other health are there also, mind, social, or other health types. But whatever he has covered the topics with the beautiful slides, very information, good information. I think that explain this the whole topic beautifully. I think it's very clear to all, and its importance and application are also very clear. So thank you, Dr. Mittal.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, very appropriate your deliberation. And at this moment, particularly when we are everybody seeking for this the immunity or immunizations and use of vaccinations and different type of vaccinations, and there are possible adverse effects are there also. So you make aware that everybody that when we are using these vaccines, we see that this what the huge merits and demerits are there. So you have nicely explained this one. Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Any
Thank you,
questions
Professor
from?
Mittal.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Dahya, continue.
Yeah, no, just you can carry on. You were asking the audience, I think. If any question is there.
Yeah, any question is there?
I think audiences should ask the questions, particularly in this COVID vaccines. There are different vaccines are there. So if any problems, because this whole immunity in our physiological system, each vaccines work in the different way. Vaccines or Moderna vaccines or this. So in that case, it varies the patient to patient. When we are talking about the personalized medicines and all these things, so there are some specificities are there. So that should be considered also. I think this.
Dr. Purushottam, in the audience, PharmD students are not there?
Sir, you are not audible.
Please unmute.
Is there my PharmD students from the second year PharmD to fifth year PharmD and a few sixth year PharmD students also attended. Seminar are gathered.
Okay, might be Professor Mittal presentation is so clear, so there are no doubts.
Yes, yes.
So thank you, Professor Mittal, for your time. And
I am opening myself to collaborate with the PharmD students of any college. With this kind of platform, we can always collaborate, and I can extend my help for the research and collaboration.
Here also in Trinidad, we run the BSc Pharmacy 4-year course, but it is clinical pharmacy oriented. It is not like our B.Pharm in India.
No. Basically, I am a clinical pharmacist, and abroad 10 years, I was also looking for the B.Pharm practice, and I was the lead for experiential learning in their community, hospital, and in industry. And I work closely with the hospitals with the help of preceptors to train their students. In India, I am doing so.
Here, how the setting is, I could understood as director.
India will way forward for us to go, because I am actually struggling to develop the way that I am teaching in foreign. Similarly, I am developing platform. That's why I have collaborated with Monash University, and then we are heading a virtual learning, a virtual hospital, my dispense program. For that, actually, I am going Italy in the month of July to have a training on that. So maybe it will be beneficial for my student future.
In Trinidad, how we operate, the 3 years of BSc Pharmacy are mostly face-to-face teaching, and in the last year they go to different sites.
Yeah.
Like they switch over between the hospitals, regional health authorities, and the retail pharmacies in the 1 year period, and that is their clinical rotation. In between, I think 1 or 2 subjects more have the exposure toward the sites. They go out, but it is minor. But final year is mainly that. So it is like a PharmD only, but
yeah, similarly, in all over the world, all the course related to the practice only. When they will go through the coursework in the university or the colleges, they call it as a PRP, or maybe pre-registered pharmacist. When they do the 1 year internship, they will call it as a FRP. They will complete the course, a training course, experiential learning. Then they pass the course, and then they will call it as FRP, a fully registered pharmacist, where they work individually. The similar.
Earlier you were in Dubai?
No, I was in International Medical University, Kuala Lumpur.
Okay, you are in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Professor Mittal.
Thank you.
So it was a nice interactive session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Organizers has to conclude the session, it seems.
So all scientific lectures are over. Yesterday we 2 sessions were conducted and today 3, and now I think there are parallel sessions will start for the e-poster or the oral session, and after that there will be valedictory function at 3:30 p.m. So organizers, over to organizers if they want to say anything.
Sir, after the completion of this oral and poster presentation from the 3 different platforms, we are going to evaluate the presenters from the oral and poster side, who is the best first 3 presentations, and with that report we will meet in the valedictory function, sir, by 3:30.
Okay, so 3:30 with the same link we will start the valedictory.
Yes, sir.
And I have informed you that Professor Subhash Chandra Dinda will be delivering closing remarks today.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, colleague.
Thank you, sir.